Kerbal Space Academy activate? Oh, it must be on now. Oh well. Alright, at least I'm back. That's good. It's making me watch another advertisement, which is a clear indicator that it has begun the stream, which is also good. Wacky scaling issues. I turned that off. I'm going to see if I can't completely remove that right after KSP keys. Alright, global sources, BTTV chat, add. No, not add. This. Okay, add new scene, global sources. Oh my gosh. You see me? Cool, that's a plus at least. Global source, better Twitch TV chat. Okay. Please just work. It's set up better title. I always screw that up. What are you talking about? I have no clue. Alright, position size. Order, move to bottom, but not quite. Order. I always forget that. Move up. Order, move up. So there's the chat. You can see chat just fine? No. The chat that's embedded in the stream is the problem. Anyways, if we have to go without it, we have to go without it. I'm not going to give this another 2 minutes. And of course I did that again. I am such a freaking Twitter spammer. This is what happens when things don't go. We never get going until 8:15 anyway, so whatever. Just giving people some time to come into the stream while I get this stuff figured out. BTTV chat. Global sources. BTTV chat. Properties. Das Valdez, Twitch, Google Chrome. That's correct. Okay. Okay. Subregion. What's up, Canine Officer? Did I misspell advanced? As if I know anything about that. But then that doesn't work. Something you got video finally? Sitherly, it was like a freaking 10-minute delay between the time I clicked start streaming the first time and the time it actually came online. So there is definitely something wonky in this land tonight. This stuff is not working at all. Jeez, oh Pete. We're just gonna do it. It's like we do the streams live, we do the setup live apparently. Now I'm supposed to be live, but I'm actually setting things up. I am not gonna do that. I'm gonna do window capture. I'm gonna do BTTV chat. Just seeing if I can't fix that. Then we're about to get going with Thador. What's going on? I'll fix that in a freaking minute. Oh my goodness. Subregion of the window. Select region. That's good. You there need to go down a little bit. And then you there need to go up a little bit. Yes. Yes, that's good. Then I need to click done. Alright, so that worked. Chroma key should be black. Done. Is that right? Inner window? Yes. Capture mouse cursor? Whatever. Aha! There's a scroll bar over there, apparently. Now we have a normal chat, and it's just in the completely wrong place, which is okay. All right, we got this. And it normally goes over here. Who wants to play some Kerbal Space Program? Well, now. I think we got it good. Let's turn off edit seed. There's a chat going over there. There it was moving around in my stream. It's time to do Kerbal Space Academy. The Kerbal keeps staring at me. Now, where did I misspell it? You said I misspelled it somewhere. I swear if you're trolling me. Kerbal Space Academy. Advanced Interplanetary Transfers. Save. I need a secretary. All right, everyone. I'm ready to go now. Good night, Irene. I do not know why OBS was completely whacked out. Yeah, I got it fixed now. It's fixed now if you refresh, but if you refresh, you're going to have to watch another ad, so if you are seriously that put aback by the missing N, I don't know what to tell you, man. We're going to be doing Kerbal Space Academy Interplanetary Transfers, but it's actually Advanced Interplanetary Transfers tonight, because I'm going to make it harder to follow. Or something. Let's see here. So, it looks like people have been coming in there. The lighting is a little bit wacky, but I think we're going to live with it this evening. That's fine. I'm a little bit dark. Whatever. It must be something to do with the camera. Everything seems to lose its settings every single time I sit down at this computer. And I do not know. Do I even add Block Pro? Not on Twitch, you know. there's that. All right, so anyways, everybody that's just coming in, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. I am going to be doing a live stream this evening on advanced interplanetary transfers. If you wonder what that might mean, we're going to go through the process of picking a place to go, figuring out how much Delta V we need to get there, designing and building the ship that's going to get us there, planning the transfer and actually executing the transfer, and trying to get out to the planet. Now, what I'm going to be doing is a little bit more advanced things. And when I say advanced, don't get scared. We're not really doing any sort of like completely wacky stuff like, oh, go into a polar solar orbit and hit it on the opposite side. No. We're not doing anything like that. We are going to be looking at some advanced ship designs for any planetary transfers, really. Things like drop tanks, things like my MUT-P program. If you've ever seen my Kerbal Sphere of Influence ski lift with the MUT-Ps, we'll be designing one of those and using that to kick our ship up out of interplanetary, out of Kerbin's Sphere of Influence. So when I say advanced interplanetary transfers, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with the more advanced ways to get away from Kerbin and get out to other places. I'm not going to say, check it out, I'm going to be doing this transfer blindfolded using just my toes on the keyboard. No, 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 no. We're going to be using a little bit of a precise node, and we're going to be using some little bit more advanced ship designs. So again, if you're new, I don't have a Dr. I do have a Dr. Pepper, but it's not in a Dr. Pepper can. And I didn't want to open another one yet because this one still has ice in it, and I didn't want to waste the Dr. Pepper. So I'll get a Dr. Pepper when I need a Dr. Pepper. Thank you for asking, though. Excellent. So, if this is your first Kerbal Space Academy, what we do in Kerbal Space Academy, it's a live stream. That means that I'm sitting here live. I don't have a script. I don't have anything like that. I'm just making it up as I go because I've played a lot of KSP. However, I don't just want to show off that we can do things. Look at how awesome Das Valdez is. I actually want you to see the sort of things that you'll be able to do in Kerbal Space Program if you follow along with the Kerbal Space Academy. So if we're going through the stream and you have any questions, you can always ask me a question. To ask me a question, just go over to the chat thing, type in your question, and hit send. It's really not difficult. There are two ways you can get my attention while I'm streaming. If you put the word DAS in the chat, like, DAS, dude, got a question, that will actually highlight it on my screen, and it makes it so that I can see what's going on. It'll get my attention. If I can't answer it right away, then whenever I get a break in between scene changes or when I'm doing after a burn or something like that, I will definitely get to it. The other way you can get my attention is to use the word question. So if in the chat you typed, I have a question, or you said question with a colon after it or something like that, that'll also highlight it in red on my screen. That'll make me look at it, or at least when I scroll back through the chat. What? At least when I scroll back through the chat, it's really obvious what your questions are, and I can find them really easily because I do like everyone being able to participate in the chat and that sort of stuff. But this is Kerbal Space Academy. It's 8:15. It's time for us to get going. Again, I'm live. If you have questions, ask them. I will try to answer them. That's the entire... There's not really a 4. That's the entire point, is that I'm here live and I can answer your questions. And in fact, I may be able to use something in the game. I could build a rocket. I could scroll around my own rocket or play with a node or something like that to help answer your questions. So again, Kerbal Space Academy, the point is that I am here to run my mouth. You are here to ask me questions and give me incentive to run my mouth some more. So, without further ado, apparently Nightbot is still going. Let me see if I missed anything in the meantime. I'm apparently shielding... Yes, I'm shielding the light from my face when I hold my hand up. I really need to get the lighting better. I do not know what's going on. Nightbot's here. Don't fret, Bob. Nightbot is not missing. I fixed the channel title, so we should be good. We fixed the chat. That should be good. Kerbal keeps staring at you. No, it doesn't. I changed screens. Game freeze. Crazed. Your game keeps freezing. Ew. That's not good. It would almost be like some sort of graphics settings, maybe, if changing into the 3D rendered physics scene kills you. That may be something that you need to look at. So, I will, without further ado, get going. If somebody in the chat could help out Curry77 with his bug that he posted up there, I would guess maybe trying different graphics settings or trying some sort of graphics card setting, revert your graphics card settings to stock or something like that and see if that helps it out. Again, you'll see Nightbot posting some things over in the channel. If you haven't taken my survey yet, I'd really appreciate you taking the survey. And if you haven't followed me on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter because I love to spam people on Twitter because every time I go live with a different title, it apparently spams you with another tweet. Get over it. Let's build some rockets and go interplanetary. I will go into the VAB here, and the number one thing we do whenever we go interplanetary is figure out how much delta V we're going to need to get somewhere. To do this, I have my handy dandy, that's not a delta V map, that's a Dr. Pepper can. Oops. Anyways, this is an awesome Dr. Pepper can that someone made for me. We will be installing it in the game as soon as I can get it set up as a separate part. It is freaking awesome. We will be sending things to orbit fueled by Dr. Pepper, as opposed to the chat suggestion sending things to orbit or sending me to stream fueled not by Dr. Pepper. Let me go to the subway map. That's what we were looking for. Less Dr. Pepper, more Delta V. And what I'm going to do is actually look at the subway map here. I actually need a little bit smaller subway map. We've got over in the chat, it looks like Bob has posted up the link to this Delta V map. Is this the same link, Bob? I think so. I'm going to click on it and just confirm it right quick. But if you want to follow along or bookmark this Delta V map, is it? Yes, outstanding. If you want to follow along and use the same Delta V map on your own computer, bookmark it so that when I'm not streaming and I don't have it on the stream, you can see it as well. Go ahead and click that link that Bob's put over there in the chat, and you will be able to follow along. So, with the Delta V map, you start off where you are right now. We're down here on Kerbal. We know to go from Kerbal to low Kerbal orbit takes about 4,500 meters per second. That's what that says right there. So let's just assume for interplanetary purposes, that's a sunk cost. We're not going interplanetary unless we get into low Kerbal orbit. So that 4,550, the 4,500-ish, we're just going to put that in our lifter and not worry about it on our interplanetary ship. Where should we go today? Elu? Maybe Dress? Maybe we could go to Dress? I don't think we've been out to Dress. It's all about there by its lonely. It's a lonely space potato. I think it's been, I think I've been hearing it called that. Let's see if we can't get out to Dress. Now, I don't know if I believe this or not. I know I believe this part. To go from low Kerbal orbit to get out of Kerbal sphere of influence, which is Kerbal intercept here, it's going to cost us about 1,000. 950 the Delta V map says. Up here, it says it's going to cost us another 350 to get to Dress. I'm not sure I buy that. We'll have to see. Then another 800 to get to low Dress orbit, and 550 if we're going to want to land on the surface. I'm not going to worry about landing on the surface. I'm just going to Dress. Somebody type in chat for White Chevy SS over there. Thank you, Bob. Outstanding. So we are going to build a ship that has at least 350. We're gonna confirm whether or not that actually works that way, and 800 to get us into low Dress orbit. That's a total of about 1,250. If we want to come home as well, we would also need to reverse that. So 1,250 times 2 would be 2,500. That's not very much Delta V. So what we're going to do is grossly overbuild this. We are going to put a lot more Delta V in this ship than we actually need to, just so that we can cover the basics of the advanced kind of interplanetary design, drop tanks, staging, that sort of stuff that we can do when we go interplanetary. The last thing that we need to talk about on this screen, I'm not going to worry about the landing. There is no inbound aerobraking possible. Dress does not have an atmosphere, so we are going to need that whole 800 meters per second of Delta V to go into orbit around it. We won't be able to aerobrake like we can around some other planets. So let us hop over and build a rocket that has at least 2,500 meters per second of Delta V. We're going to give it a whole heck of a lot more than that. Without further ado, let's see here. Oh, we're still talking about Craze 77. Hey, Craze, the other thing I thought about, maybe try it with a blank save. Start a new game, a brand new save with no ships in orbit, nothing like that, and see if starting with a completely blank save helps you out, if you're able to actually do it there. So, let's see here. A ship that goes interplanetary. We've all done this before. We always like the cupola. We're not going to use a cupola today. Nobody ever builds anything with that. This pod, I don't know. Let's keep it lightweight. Let's use let's use the lander can, you know. And let's use a hitchhiker because we're going all the way out to Dress. And let's use a science lab. So there's a lander can, there's a hitchhiker. I wonder if I should do this a little bit more complicated. Nah, let's keep it simple. Let's put a science lab in there too. It's probably not, honestly, you know, now that I think about it, it's probably not, it's not necessary to take a science lab out to Dress. There's no moons, right? You're not going to need to clean science experiments very much. There's no biomes on Dress. There's really no reason to tote this science lab out there with us. 3.5. So let's not take a science lab. This is just going to be like a sightseeing tour. In fact, let's make it a sightseeing tour. We're going to go on a sightseeing tour of Dres. And that means I am going to put like 4 of these things on here in some sort of wacky conflagration. So to make it a sightseeing tour of Dres, just to keep it easy, interesting. Remember, at Kerbal Space Academy, I don't stream these. I don't come up with a plan in advance. I just sit down and I just start talking to you. And we kind of make it up on the fly. So if anybody has any, use an SSTO X-Wing to get to Dres. Unfortunately, X-Wing does not, while it does go SSTO, it does not fulfill some of our requirements. But let's see if I can't, let's not use that. Let's see if I can't build a ship here that's going to take 16 Kerbals, 4 families of Kerbals, 4 families of 4, plus 2 staff to out to Dres. That's what we'll be doing here. So there's the crew quarters, I guess. They're going to stay there with a... Well, no, we want to separate them from a bunch of lead. From the families with a bunch of lead. This lead will be the sound insulation, I guess, from the screaming kids who get very bored on a 3-year trip to Dres. Only to find out that the plans for Disney World were canceled, and the communications array between here and Dres never relayed the message. So there's that. I'm just tossing together a ship right here. That looks nice. One thing, you can't radially attach the hitchhikers, so if you want to do 4x hitchhikers in a that's not going to work. How will we ever get in and out of the hitchhikers? Nope. Once you load up on the rocket, you're not allowed to actually get out of the hitchhiker for the... This is for safety purposes. The doors are blocked. That's much better. Now you can actually see what's going on. Let's see here. Disney on Dres. Yes, we are continuing to do that. That's a little bit too far down. Let's see if there's anything we can do to make this look cool. Probably not, knowing me. I think, let's bring that up. Let's try to get it right about like that. Not clipping with the battery. I do so very much hate part clipping. Maybe it would be better if we had these things on here. Again, this is not about the Disney trip. This is just about transferring out to Dres. That doesn't look too terrible, although I'm not in love with the clipped parts. So we shall put it right like that. That's okay. Whatever. What can we put on there? Is there anything that we could put on there? I really don't even think we need those things particularly. We should probably put these at an angle like this. Right like that, I would say. Because that way this guy can get in between and go slap the kids around or whatever needs to be done. Let us put a couple more parts on there. Maybe just these nose cones. Yes, that looks freaking fantastic. Ooh, you know, nobody ever uses these for anything. 0.4 though. That's pretty dumb. Plus it looks like scary clowns with party hats on. Let's not worry so much about what's going on there. And let's just put some struts in there to hold this whole contraption together. It's Hotel Jeb. We're at Levelicious. We're actually doing a sightseeing tour to Dres. In Kerbal Space Academy this evening as part of the Advanced Interplanetary Transfer Techniques. So there we've got that. There we've got some fuel. This is ugly as sin down here. But there are cool things. There are cool things that we can do with this. Watch and learn. Let me grab one of these fuel tanks. And then is this going to fit? Yes, that is going to fit. Not the best looking thing in the world, quite honestly. Let's just let it. Let's just roll with it. Whatever. Let's just let it roll. By doing that, taking that tank out, and grabbing these things over here. Again, we like to keep it interesting, which basically means I make up things as I go. There's that, plus one of those. Now are you going to fit? Yes. Now you fit, yes. Now you fit, yes. Excellent. Except I didn't get it quite straight. We'll fix that in post. Well, maybe if you just put one of them, it would work. Nope. No love on that. These things will just take off. These things will move all the way up. There's my problem. Is that straight? Not quite straight. One more tick over. That's straight, isn't it? Yes, that's straight. Alright, now I can come down here, and I don't need to do that at all anymore. Excellent, eh? But I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. And I can put something on the end. I'm not actually sure what I'm going to put on the end. Maybe something... nothing, actually. We're going to leave it right like that. And so what I'm going to do, what I'm setting up here, that you'll see in just a second, I'm setting up some drop tanks, right? And the cool thing about drop tanks is that if you've got a ship that's going interplanetary, you're going to be tossing things into a solar orbit. You're going to be way out there. You're not going to be really cluttering up low carbon orbit. But with the drop tanks, you can get your ship on its merry way and then ditch the tanks so that you don't have to carry them the entire way out to your destination. That is particularly cool because it allows us to use the fuel in the tank but not carry the weight of the tank all the way back and forth. As it turns out, that's not really what we want to be doing because it's not particularly efficient. So all I'm trying to do with all of my talking that's going on right now, all I'm really trying to do is set up something down here so I can show you two different types of drop tanks. One type of drop tank is going to look like this. We are going to put in 2x symmetry one of these radial decouplers here, and then we are going to put tanks in the radial decoupler that match our form factor in the middle of the thing there. Like that. And that is a freaking simple drop tank, right? The other thing, the thing that I kind of like to do with drop tanks, the problem with this, right, is that these aren't, you check in but you don't check out. The Hotel Jebafornia. The thing about these drop tanks is this ship is not reusable, right? Because I've got these radial decouplers here, I will never be able to, in space, reattach more drop tanks in this position, right? That's a bit of a problem. I don't really like doing that. I like ships that if I pay all the money to get a ship into orbit, I send it out on a mission, I bring it on home, but I've used drop tanks, I like to design ships that I can actually refit new drop tanks full to, refill them, and send that ship on another mission somewhere else. In Kerbal Space Program, are you really so limited that you have to do it that way? Not really. If you're doing some role-playing with the missions modes and the budget and that sort of stuff, and you say, we're going to put all this research into designing this ship and launch it, and then it's going to go on 3 separate missions, one to Jewel and one to here and one to there, would you want reusable drop tanks? Maybe so. So here's what I do to get those drop tanks reusable. Instead of the radial decouplers, which honestly make it a little bit easier to decouple the drop tanks, I actually use the docking ports. And so you go away. No one loves you. I'll grab a docking port, and I'll put it here in the middle of our stuff. And when I put... Is that 2x symmetry? Yes, it is. And then when I actually put the drop tank on, I will put another docking port on like that, and then I'll make my drop tanks. So I'll come over here, and I'll get... could we do one of these? Those are probably a little bit much. Let's just make these smaller tanks and see what it looks like if we use these. That's good. And the cool thing about doing it this way is that if I design a tank like this, right? Check out my drop tank. This is my drop tank right here. This little part. If I design the tank with docking ports on either side of it, I could actually retrofit... that's upside down. I could actually retrofit this ship for different missions. The further it needs to go, the more Delta V it needs, the more drop tanks I could attach to it in order for it to get there. So we will actually play with that here. Rotate. Nope. Rotate twice. There we go. Now they're all up and down. But in designing these tanks like this, if I needed more, I could do that. And if I needed more, I could do that. Now I'm kind of putting these out the side, right? What's up, 2Blue SE? Welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. We're doing advanced interplanetary transfers tonight. The one problem with this design is that you really can't get too far past 2 drop tanks. When you're accelerating, these tanks will actually start pressing backwards, which is an issue. We don't really like that because they'll be, with physics mode, your acceleration will bend them backwards. So this drop tank is really better suited, if you're going to string a lot of them together, to some sort of design like this. So if I were to put something like that, and if my engines were out on the side, I could be flying along, and as I empty this last tank, I could drop it off. It's almost like a chain of beads sort of thing. As I empty this tank, I drop it off, and as I empty this tank, I drop it off, and as I empty this tank, I drop it off. So you could also do this, and I'll show you some engine placement designs that we can actually use for that. So I think I'm just going to go, we'll see how much delta V we have with just 2 tanks. I think y'all get the point of the drop tanks, and I think you get the point of using docking ports with the drop tanks so that you can retrofit, not just refuel, but actually retrofit your craft for future missions. I would really like these tanks to be tucked in, I think. So let's make sure this thing is in the very middle of that so that I can grab that and tuck it in all the way. Like that, and then I'll grab these docking ports, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Like that. Nope. 2x symmetry. Come on now, girly. There we go, right like that. So I've kind of tucked it in, and that's going to give me some space down here to set up an engine array. Now, one of the things that you have to think about when you're putting the drop tanks on, right? Well, let's take that off. One of the things you have to think about whenever you're putting the drop tanks on is if you're accelerating and you drop the tank, will you actually hit anything on your ship? So for example, if I came down here and I had an engine design that looked like this, let me grab a part. Nope, wrong part. If I had an engine design that looked like this, and I had some of these little puppies on there. What's up, Snuggly Squid? How's it going? You just got back from In Real Life? Nice, In Real Life Space Academy. Freshman level astronomy lab. Dude, that's awesome. Welcome. We were just saying if we had an engine configuration that looked like this, if I was accelerating and I disconnected these tanks, they would actually run into the freaking engines. That's no bueno. We don't really like that. Could we still use a ship this way? Yes, we could, because we could actually stop accelerating and then spin the ship up and get rid of the drop tanks, or we could just try and give it enough spin about its axis that the centripetal force would throw the drop tanks out to clear the engine, right? Another thing you can do is just design your ship such that it doesn't have that problem, and you can put tanks over in configurations like that. That looks like it would still almost hit it, but a lot less spin would give it clearance, right? We could also do a sort of thing where our engines were only over here on the... That was the wrong button completely. Our engines are over here on the side, right? And we could do some sort of conflagration that looks like this instead. I know I'm just spamming nuclear engines in there. We're just playing some configuration that looks like that gives the tank enough clearance to fly past the nuclear engines. I'm not actually sure that that would do it. Anyways, let's start looking at the numbers and let us see what Kerbal Engineer says about our little tourist vessel here. So I always like this thing. I'm going to put it right next to the door so they can roll back the tape if they need to. 1x symmetry. There we go. So right now we have almost no delta V. That's a problem. This is an interplanetary ship, so in Kerbal Engineer. By the way, if you don't have Kerbal Engineer, check my channel description down there. I love Kerbal Engineer. I use it on every ship that I build. You should totally download it and install it, although I would recommend you get the 1.0 version, not the 0.6 version. I just haven't upgraded yet. So since it's an interplanetary ship, we'll turn that off. 579 delta V, that's freaking terrible. Why is that so terrible? The issue with my delta V right now is I don't actually have all of these engines connected to anything whatsoever. Is that good? I'd really rather those were on standoffs. So what we need to do is go over to our fuel lines, grab our fuel lines, and start putting our drop tanks connected into the thingies. Now, with a drop tank that's on radial decouplers, download Kerbal Engineer, drink Dr. Pepper, obey, sort of deal. If you've got a drop tank that's connected with a radial decoupler like this, you're going to have to use a fuel line. So I'm going to go 2x symmetry, and I'm going to put that fuel down to the middle of the tank. That didn't change anything. Why? Because we don't actually have fuel lines going out to our engines themselves. I need to do this sort of number. So here's one in 2x symmetry. I don't think I'm really going to leave it this way. We'll see. Here's another in 2x symmetry. And then here's the last one in delicious 2x symmetry. Now it's totally confused. Why is it totally confused now? Because of the drop tanks? Let's put all our engines in the first stage. And it may have some sort of fuel simulation bug. We will see shortly. There we go, much better. Now the ship has a total of 4,000 delta V. That still seems low. Ah, it looks like it's not getting fuel from these either. So you may be learning something from what I'm doing here, right? In that this is a very complicated fuel tank design. I've got fuel tanks up here. I've got the primary core. The engines aren't connected to the primary core, so I've got to have fuel tanks there. And then we've got all these wacky drop tanks. So there's drop tanks over here, and I need a line in here. And then these things, I do not believe the fuel simulation logic is even taking them into account yet. Let's see here. That gives us a lot more delta V to take them off. So it looks like the fuel use simulation logic is not running fuel in between here. That's another thing, and I hope I get this right. I didn't try it in advance. This is a quirk of the way that docking ports on vessels do fuel flow, right? If you have a docking port, remember, this is called radially attached. And a docking port can be radially attached, right? This is radial attachment, and this is axial attachment. When I put it on a green node, like that, that's axial attachment. When I put it on the side of something, that's radial attachment, right? A docking port will normally flow fuel, but whenever it is a docking port that is radially attached to something like this, the docking port by default won't flow fuel. There are a couple ways that you can fix it. Yes, could we get a fuel line and go basically from this fuel tank to our main core? Yes, that gave us a lot more delta V. However, when I come to retrofit the ship, it ain't going to work. Because when I retrofit her, she is not going to have that fuel line there anymore. If I, say, had a little robotic drone that delivered a new full fuel tank here to the side and docked it against this port right here, that fuel line is not going to reconnect automatically. So this is not a great solution for us to put a fuel line in there. The good solution that we have is to take that sucker off of there, go over into our structural tab, and grab one of these radial attachment points. I hope that this works. If not, I'll have to fix it. I'm going to put the radial attachment point on there first, and then I'm going to take the docking port and axially attach it to the radial attachment point, and apparently that did nothing, so I'm totally wrong. That should have begun flowing the fuel, but it looks like the fuel simulation logic is not working. So let's try this. Let us go back to our fuel line, and instead of connecting the fuel line from the tank, what if we connect it from the docking port to the tank? That actually worked. This should actually worked here. This should have worked. I'm not sure why that didn't work. But what we did was, instead of connecting the fuel line from the tank over to the main core, I connected it from the docking port over to the main core. And that allows the fuel to flow from the tank through that docking port to this docking port up to the main core. This is actually supposed to flow fuel too, so I'm not exactly Hotel Jebifornia. Hotel Jebifornia. There you go. Save. I like that name. That is actually supposed to flow fuel. I'm not quite sure. Maybe the logic in the older Kerbal engineer is not modeling that. I thought that it was fixed because I worked with Padishar on that exact bug, and we went round and round until it was done. But now we have these drop tanks on there flowing fuel into the rest of the thing. The problem is, actually I don't think that it's going to be a problem. Yeah, it's not going to be a problem because of the exact way that we have it. But the other thing that we need to think about is this. I'm going to actually take it out to the launch pad and demonstrate this one. We want our drop tanks to be used in the order that we want them to be used. What I'm actually trying to say is that we want the drop tanks to utilize the fuel in the correct order, right? We don't want it to pull, if we have 4 drop tanks, we want to drop 2 tanks and then drop the other 2 tanks. We don't want to use the fuel out of all 4 and drop them all 4 at the same time. The most efficient way is to do it 1 drop tank at a time with that kind of string of beads where I had it kind of coming out the bottom here. That's the most efficient way because you use a tank and you ditch it. This way is not quite as efficient, but it'll do. We're going to pull the fuel out of 2 tanks simultaneously, and then when those tanks are full, we're going to ditch them, then we're going to pull it from the next fuel. So let me go out here, and actually, just for the sake of simulation, I'm going to connect this like this, just so that we can see what happens with these drop tanks. Now I've got this tank connected directly to there, and that tank connected directly to there. So what I expect should happen, and I don't know if this is going to actually work or not, what I expect should happen is that these engines should be looking for fuel. They should go up the tree and say, hey, I need fuel. I'm going to go here. All right, there's a fuel line going from there. I'm going to go to here. All right, there's a fuel line from there. I'm going to go to here. And in following all those fuel lines, it should find these drop tanks. However, I think that it's actually going to pull it simultaneously from both this tank and this tank, which is not the behavior we want. Let's go out to the launch pad and see if that's true. The Drace Winnebago. The Drace Winnebago. Ah, scene change. I love it. Outstanding. So this is always a good thing. When we're working on things like drop tanks and these more complicated ships, we want to see how they're going to be flowing fuel, right? We don't need Kerbal Engineer for that. But we're just going to go ahead and throttle up. There we go. And I'm just going to light the engines like that. Let's get that out of the way so we can see the static test that we've got going here. And let's see where it's pulling the fuel from. That's not bad fuel flow because these things are super inefficient down here. So looking at that tank, it's pulling it out of that tank. It's also pulling it out of that tank, which we don't really like. And it's amazingly not pulling it out of that tank. Ah, it's not pulling it out of that tank because that tank is one more step away, so that's good. We don't want it to pull out of this tank and this tank at the same time. We really want to just pull it out of this tank first, I think, and then ditch those tanks and then go to this tank. I could have made a mistake that would have made this a little bit worse. So we need to solve for this. We need to make it pull out of this tank before that tank. And then we also need to solve, or I need to show you another problem that I was thinking may happen. Let's go back to the VAB. And I will show you something else that you need to look at whenever you're putting these drop tanks on. Or any sort of fuel flow, really. This isn't just for drop tanks. This is for any sort of craft design. Remember what I said, as it's walking the fuel tree and trying to figure out where to get fuel from? It started here, it's like, I'm an engine, I need fuel. It went to here, it said, I have fuel. Oh, but I also have a fuel line. It followed the fuel line to this the central tank here, and it said, oh, I have fuel, but I also have fuel lines. And then it went out the edge here, and it found the end. It said, hey, I'm a fuel tank, and I have no fuel lines connected to me, so I'm going to pull fuel from this tank. That's good. We also had fuel in these tanks up here. And you might think, well, why? Look, there's fuel lines here. Why didn't it pull fuel from this as well? The reason it didn't pull fuel from this tank is because there was one more part in between it. If I had taken these puppies right here, and instead of connecting it to that part on top, connected it to this tank, look at our tree now. We come from here to the main tank. I've said, oh my gosh, I have 3 fuel lines going from me. One to here, and one to here. If I take this puppy out to the launch pad, I would expect, I'm not sure this is actually going to work, but I am going to expect that it will pull it from all the tanks, all 8 tanks at the same time. Let's have a look. Throttle up, activate the engines. I'm pulling fuel from there, that's what we expected. I'm pulling fuel from there, that's what we expected. I'm still not pulling fuel from there. So that is interesting as to why it is not pulling fuel from that tank. I would expect it to be pulling fuel from that tank. Oh, it is. It's pulling it from that one. Aha! I didn't have 4x symmetry on. There's the problem. The only reason it wasn't pulling fuel from there was because I only had, I guess, 1x symmetry when I put that fuel line. See, there's only one fuel line right there, and there's no fuel lines around the rest of it. So here you can see the problem. You may have made this mistake when you're building your own rocket. I had fuel lines coming from there, out to this tank, out to that tank, and out to that tank, so it's pulling all from those places at the same time. That's not what we want. Let me kill that and go back and let us fix all of those problems. I just wanted to illustrate, if you were connecting your own ship and you didn't notice that I connected it to that other part, the little structural cone piece, instead of directly to the tank, that would have happened to your own ship and you would have said, geez, DOS told me to do it this way, and then it totally didn't work. What a D-bag. Let's see here. That's pointing down. That's 1x symmetry again. Way to go, DOS, learning from your past mistakes. That's 4x symmetry. That's pointing down. Now it's installed. So that'll fix that, right? It'll pull from this tank. Ooh, it may still be a problem. Let's have a look. What I wanted to do, I wanted to come over here, and let's assume that we had all of our drop tanks the same. I can rebuild that in a jiffy, and I can actually come over here, and instead of 2 of those, I'm actually going to put 2 in 2x symmetry. Like that, and then like this. So now we have 4 radial decoupler enabled drop tanks. And so you may guess what's going to happen right now. Right now, if I fire these things up, it's going to search for fuel. It's going to come to here, and it's going to pull fuel from all 4 of these tanks at the same time. This one, that one, and that one. That's not really what we want. Did you catch the other thing I did? The other thing that I did was, instead of 4x symmetry, I've got 4 tanks around there, right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 drop tanks on there, right? But I didn't put them on with 4x symmetry. That's so that I can get rid of them 2 at a time. If I put them on at 4x symmetry, like this, actually we'll get rid of that one, and grab this one and put it on with 4x symmetry like that, whenever I stage it, it'll actually get rid of all 4 at a time. If I wanted to do just 2, there are a couple ways you could do it. Could I come over here and could I create a new stage and try to figure out, alright, wait a second, which one is that? Alright, there we go. You can see it highlighting. So I'm just going to drag that one decoupler down there and then do the same thing for the other part. That can get confusing. That is a way to do it. I would need to look at this one, click on that once to separate it. Look at that. It's the one in the middle. Nope, not like that. Is it still the one in the middle? Yep. So just click on the one in the middle and drag it down by itself. Get rid of that stage. So that would work with 4x symmetry, right? In order to ditch first these 2 tanks and then the other 2 tanks. The problem is, again, we're going to be pulling from all 4 of these tanks simultaneously. That's not really what we want. We want to pull from the 2 that we're going to ditch first and then the other 2. The easiest way that I've found to install these things was with a 2x symmetry like I looked at before. So instead of 4x symmetry, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do 2x symmetry like that. I'm going to get another copy of it and I'm going to install 2 more of them over here with 2x symmetry. That already separates out the groups, which makes it super easy, and I can just click on the group and drag it. Nope. I can just click on the group and drag it down just like that. Now, the other problem is it's pulling from all 4 simultaneously, right? And we don't want that. We want to pull from 2 that we're going to drop first. Where are you at? There we go. So first we're going to pull from these, and then we want to pull from these. So what can I do for that? I can actually come over here and take these off, and instead of making those run to the central core, I can actually make these run to the other drop tanks. Now again, remember the weakness of this design, right? I won't be able to retrofit. Solo Asylum, take it easy. Wait, how do you decouple a docking port, attach tank, undock, or otherwise? Let me answer that right quick. Since you're taking off, oh wait, you're not taking off. That was Chevy SS. Dude, Chevy SS, take it easy, man. You can actually put it in an action group, Solo Asylum. I'll put them in action groups whenever you do the when your parents tell you to get off your computer, you just go downstairs and watch DOS. Dude, that's awesome. You can tell them you're attending a class, honestly. Jeez, I'm trying to study here, Mom and Dad. Get off my back. Remember, the weakness of the design here is that this design using the decouplers won't be able to be retrofitted. I'll never be able to put these new drop tanks on whenever the ship returns from there. So let us see here. We have that going there. We have that going to the middle. And one more thing that I would really want to do, I would want this to go up to those tanks, but that's not really going to work. It's okay since we can't retrofit this anyways. How can I make sure? Let's see if it's broken this way. Let's just put that to the middle, like that, and let's launch it and let's see how it feeds fuel so far. You're in physics at the moment. You're in logic. You're in planning. What's up, Furious Fukuda? Welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. We're doing advanced interplanetary transfers tonight. We're talking about different ways to design tanks, design ships actually, and set up fuel flow. That doesn't look promising. Yeah, that's actually not promising at all that that's like that. We're talking about different ways that we can set up ships and fuel flow for interplanetary ships, specifically talking about drop tanks, way to get rid of dead weight that we don't want to carry with us when we go to or from the planet. Let's go back to the vehicle assembly and fix that problem right quick. We shall see. Alright, so this is definitely an idiotic problem. What I actually wanted was 2x symmetry, and I wanted it to go like that. So do I have that correct? No, it's still not working correctly at all. That's so annoying. 2x symmetry from there to there. Did that work? Yes. And then 2x symmetry in towards the middle. That worked. Alright, now we're good to go on the Delta V. That's cool. And we have it going up to the top as well, right? Yeah, we have it going into the middle. So let's go check this out. Alcor landing can. You kind of kidding with the Alcor landing can? I just totally missed something. I don't know if you said something that I didn't get, but yeah. Is that the right chat you're talking in there? Let's send this out and see if this thing's going to flow fuel correctly. There we go. So, throttle it up, just like the engines. We ain't going anywhere. It's not feeding from there. That's what we want. Remember, that's the one we're going to stage second. Watch as I highlight that. It highlights right there. You can see that's the right place. It should just be feeding fuel from there. That's correct. And it's not feeding fuel from anywhere else. So we are good to go so far. However, I begin to wonder if we are going to have some problems. Let's find out. Is it going to take me a long time to burn all the fuel out of these tanks? Yes, kind of. Let's not wait for that. Let's just get rid of them. I am just going to go ahead and stage them. Get out of here! And now that I've staged them, let's fire up the engines again and see how we're pulling fuel. I'm pulling fuel from there. I'm not pulling fuel from there. That's good. Alright, so that staging would be correct. The order of operations would be first I pull fuel from the first drop tanks, then I pull fuel from these drop tanks, then I finally pull fuel from the central core. And let us see if that works. Turn the engines off, drop those tanks. Satisfying. Fire the engines back up. We should be pulling it from, I think, here first, then we're going to pull it from there, then we're going to empty out those tanks, with these tanks being last. So this tank is good to go. Rocket science is nice. I asked him what's going on. Oh. I have so little context when I like say a question out loud and then I read the chat a little bit later. That is definitely an issue for me sometimes. So anyways, this ship's fuel flow is good to go. I don't like using those, so let's go make the fuel flow work with the other tanks. Revert to vehicle assembly. And we're gonna make the actual design that we send up there, one that we can retrofit and reuse fuel, or basically re-put the fuel tanks on in the future. That's good. I kind of don't like the way that those are, really. In fact, I think I would like them better if they were different. Meh, we'll figure it out. Whatever. Let's see here. So I was going to do the same thing I did before. Let me go with the... Honestly, the radial attachment point should work, but it didn't look like it worked. It worked. I'm going to put 2 X-symmetry docking ports here, 2 X-symmetry docking ports here. Pretty close to the same. Let's get these out of the way. They're just difficult to build around. I'm going to set up my drop tank designs. There's drop tanks. Actually, let's just build one drop tank first, and then we'll get rid of them all. This ship should have a little bit less delta V because I'm going to be using these pancake drop tanks. Like that. That's too far up. Let's fix it. There we go. That's not going to work like that, is it? Huh, that drop tank's not going to work at all. Good to know. Good to know. Let's just go ahead and go with that many engines. And then see if we have enough clearance for that drop tank to work. There's all sorts of tricks we can use if we need to do that. In fact, ooh, that's actually a really cool way to do it. Ooh, I definitely like that. Let me get these drop tanks on, and then I'll show you what I just thought of. There's this guy again. Let's make sure that he's right. Oh, nope. Come on. There we go. Upside down, though. 2-2. There we go. Now it's good. I was just thinking of this sort of shindig, which I think will look pretty darned cool. Instead of putting these radially down here, I'm going to use these parts. I feel like these parts don't get enough love. Whoever uses these radial attachment points, right? What did I just miss? Drop tanks hit the top of the engines. Yeah, y'all got it. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you there. But yes, we are definitely going to fix that, and here is how I'm going to fix that. Instead of putting these things like this, I'm going to put them on like that and work with them such that they don't actually clip in there, right? So that actually looks kind of cool. Let's see if we can't do something like that. Put these things on. Is that going to make it not hit? That actually looks like it's going to make it not hit. Those look really cool, honestly. What's up, Sarian? Thanks for dropping by, man. We are doing advanced interplanetary transfers. Right now we're talking about how to design the ship such that the drop tanks don't rip the engines off. Important concept to understand when working with engines. I think that looks cool, actually. And let me go. I'm going to make it look a little bit cooler. We also don't have attitude control on here. We can get rid of these guys. We can get rid of these tanks completely. This is going to make our fuel flow a lot easier, too. Get rid of that. I didn't know you could connect it directly to the side of the rocket like that. So like that, where is a structural piece that'll make these things look a little bit cooler? Something like this, maybe? Will that actually clip all the way in, or no? Oh, I don't have a node left, so I can't do that. That's lame. Drat. Oh well, I have a plan. Let's, let me grab some more. Should I use docking ports, maybe? No, that clips it. That's like it's like a castle docking port. It's like a docking port with extra shielding in it. I actually wonder if things would dock to that. That's interesting, honestly. I don't know. Let's, I was hoping I could put a nose cone or something in there, but that's not going to work. What could I do? I could totally fake it, but that would make the parts clip. I don't really want to do that. I could put something axial there to cover it up. Here, hidden batteries. Yes, look at these shielded batteries. I've installed shielded batteries on my craft. Honestly, that doesn't look terrible. I think we may just go with that, just because. Who's ever done that before? I haven't. Shielded batteries. Angle my engines outward. Not in Space Academy, man. I'm not going to angle the engines outward in the Space Academy stream. That's for the free play. Let's put a little bit of Strutty McStrutterson in here. I'm just going to go like that, and then I'm going to... Can I get up in there? Come on now, girly! Can I clip it through? I can apparently highlight my NVIDIA control panel. Nope, I can't really get to it that way. Let's just... can I see it this way? We'll just guess. We'll just put it like right there. That looks pretty straight. That looks pretty straight. I like that design. I don't think that thing's going anywhere, especially once we put these up here. A spoiler for the downforce. Yes, all the downforce that we need in space. We could make a rocket-powered spoiler, maybe. So, now I've got those. I've got the drop tanks on there. I'm going to install some more drop tanks. And the last thing I need to do is fix the fuel lines. It's always the sixth direction, isn't it? Let's see if I can get those on there. Nope. Come on now. There we go. Now we have drop tanks. When we drop those tanks, they won't hit the engines. The engines are way out there on the side. This is a very interesting looking craft. That's okay. We like to make things interesting a lot of the time. We are also going to need to go in here and put fuel lines. Remember, fuel lines going from our docking port, right like that, down to the main body of the tank. Would have been easier to do before we put the engines on, FYI. Like that. Same story over here. From the docking port down to the tank. Now we should be good. That will actually make all of our, that'll make our things work correctly. Our things work correctly. Way to go, DOS. Way to be a good instructor, instructing people on how to make things work correctly. And I think we do have a little bit of a problem with these fuel lines. Yep, they're going the wrong way. They actually need to, we should flow. Yes. Welcome to Disney. Don't mind the fuel line flowing through your cabin. I'm totally doing it just because this is Kerbal Space Program. That line on the wall that gets really cold, that's actually a fuel feed line. Do not let your children tap on that line because it may cause a spontaneous failure of the spacecraft. Or at least flood your cabin with fuel. The last thing that I'm going to do here is one last kind of drop tank sort of design. I'm going to come down here. I am going to grab, actually in the utility tab, there we go. I'm going to put a Clampetron Senior down there. I like it that way. And I'm actually going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to make a drop tank on the very end. You don't have to do this. And you don't have to screw it up either like I just did. And then we'll put a drop tank down like this and we'll see how we are. So what if we put one of these guys here? Like that. He should be good to go. We could dock that tank there to him. Now, we have to figure out how the fuel flow is supposed to go for this. So let's go out here. How much delta V do we have? So one of the things that happens needs more lights. Sort of like a fat harpoon. It looks cool, doesn't it? I mean, it's like, I like it too. I almost wonder if we could fit a bigger sort of core in here. Like, could we make like the mother of all drop tanks by doing this sort of deal? Actually, we could. Look at that. It looks like we could do a drop tank like this. Because that would fit in the way we have those engine form factor. That's actually really cool. Plus, it works with the MUT really well, which is the reason I was doing it this way. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and leave it as a drop tank like that. We won't put all that other shenanigans in there, but will do that. I won't worry about that drop tank. I'm not sure which one's going to go first, but here's one of the main problems, right? One of the lacking things in Kerbal Engineer here is that it won't calculate the delta V when we're using the DocuPort. It runs through the mini fridge to keep the Dr. Pepper cold. we provide cooling to your cabin by running live fuel through it. It's a hot line right through your fridge. It both keeps your beverages cool and provides propulsion to the spacecraft. Congratulations, welcome to Valdez Cruises. That's awesome. Needs more lights. Yeah, I'll come back and I'll fingle it off. I'll finagle it off at the end here. One thing that's going to happen here is that this amount of delta V is not going to be correct, because it is assuming that you're going to fly this entire ship without dropping any of the docking ports, right? Kerbal Engineer can't figure that out. It can't figure out, you can't stage docking ports, basically, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to know at the top of my head that we're going to have a lot more delta V than that. We don't have particularly good thrust to weight, but I'm doing that for a reason. I'm going to show you. What's up, Luis Piliotto? How's it going, buddy? We're taking a craft out to Drez and talking about fuel staging and drop tanks right now. What else are we missing? Oh, we're missing a probe core. How am I going to do that? What's up, KS? What's up, Darth Bellan. What's going on, Darth Bellan? We're doing advanced interplanetary transfers. Oh my gosh, I can barely talk. I got something to do here. We're going to finish this craft off, then we're going to take her on out. I'm going to put those things on there. I hope you can see where I'm going. DIS. Green Bagel 3! Welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. VALDEEEZ. Das Valdezi. Das Valdezi. Let's see here. Let me go over here, and now that we have our Mickey Mouse ears going, I actually want bigger ears than that. Where is my science panel? There is my science panel. Communicatrons, oh how I love you. Well now, that will be awesome. I should probably put them out at a bit of an angle, huh? Like that. I put two mouse eyes on here. Oh, we have way too much fun doing this. Jeez, oh Pete. I don't have RCS. I'm not worried about RCS. There's no landing excursions. We're launching Robo Mickey. We're launching something. We're gonna need some power generation somewhere in here. Y'all, what's up, Bobcan? How's it going? When I do the scene change to get out to the interplanetary transfer, I will do a roll call and say hi to everybody that I've missed, because I know I've missed some peoples. I could totally anti-clip these things like this, I guess, right? Just try to hide these things a little bit. That actually doesn't look like it's going to do anything, but whatever. We can. That looks ridiculous. I like it. Oh yeah, it's one of them parts, huh? See, is that gonna block the doorway? I fear that may block the doorway. I am dead scared of things that block my doorways. But I do want something pointing down. Maybe we'll put something else up there that we can attach it to, right? Such as one of these puppies. Yes. Looks a little bit less like, well, it's still got a Mickey Mouse vibe going. That's okay. And I'll put the probe. We've already got the probe cores. We don't need that. Now I can angle it down to do my lighting. Everybody knows that we put thermometers on. There, it's like a awning, I guess. It's a light awning. Bobkin. Introducing an. We already got sued by Disney for introducing an X-wing. That's awesome. That's awesome. Maybe the paperwork just hasn't come through to my mailbox yet. Everybody needs to know what the thermometer temperature is outside, so we always put that there. Power generation we need. We've got. What's up? Q-Tip K, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. Thanks for enrolling. We are doing interplanetary transfers tonight. We are. Where is my RTG? Talk to me, RTG. There's my RTG. We've already got the cooling for the pods situated. Now we're also going to install a radiant heater, with actual radiation. Now with 100% more actual radiation. So now not only can we cool down their Dr. Peppers, we can warm up their cabin by irradiating it. I like it. Anything else? Backup solar panels. Sometimes I push that on there, so I will do it. We'll put a couple of these puppies on there just into symmetry. I like it. It's like it's a one-eyed Mickey Mouse going on here. Anything else? What else did I miss? I've got power generation. I've got. Did I just miss another follower? While I catch up with the followers, do I accept Bitcoin or Dogecoin donations? I actually don't know what's involved with that. I've got a donation link down there. I've got PayPal set up through StreamTip. I think StreamTip also handles. I don't know if StreamTip handles Bitcoin or Dogecoin donations. Then yes, because I use StreamTip. But if no, then I don't know. I would totally. If that's the thing, I'll totally get that set up, man. Let's see here. I just missed the follower too, and then we need to get this thing out to the launch pad. Who did I miss? I missed Schnipples. Thanks for enrolling in Kerbal Space Academy. Welcome. Let's see here. The last thing we are going to do. I was talking about Kerbal Engineer. While y'all are thinking about whether or not I need anything else to do, if I've missed anything on this craft, put it over in chat so that I can fix it. We don't get all the way out to dress before we know what's going on. I'm going to look at the chat. I don't think I missed anything. I was talking about how Kerbal Engineer can't really replicate the docking ports because you can't stage docking ports to be disconnected. There are a couple tricks you can use with that. I'm not going to worry about it because we know that 8296 delta V is a whole heck of a lot more delta V than we need. And on top of that, we're going to have even more delta V than that because as we drop these tanks, the remaining fuel is going to be more and more efficiently used. However, what I am going to do is stage me some action groups. So custom 1 over here, I'm going to set this port here, excuse me, engineer, to both undock and decouple. Drahomirs, thanks for enrolling in Kerbal Space Academy. We're doing advanced symmetric solar panels, please. I think I got it. I think I got them symmetric. Oh, I didn't. Oh my gosh, good call. Let me do that before I forget because I'm really bad at forgetting things. There we go. Now they're symmetric. How you like them apples? Mickey Mouse apparently has headphones on. We are not landing. No, we're just trying to get out there to Dres. We're not actually going to be doing a landing out there. Focusing on the design of the ship and the interplanetary transfer itself. So, I was talking about staging me some docking ports. This is important. In Custom 1 here, I selected this docking port right here. Remember, there are 2 docking ports. There's the one on the drop tank that we can use when we're retrofitting refueling, and there is this one that's actually staying on our ship. This one that's staying on the ship is the one that we need to select, because if we select this one, when we dock a new docking port to it, this one will not have any instructions. However, if we select the ship side docking port, it will remember from retrofit to retrofit what it's supposed to be doing. So number 1 will be empty that tank and then get rid of it, basically. Number 2 will be these docking ports. So I'm going to grab that one, and it should have the one on the other side. Yep, you can see they're both purple there and there, but that one's not purple right there. That's exactly what we want. Let's make sure they're both purple. And I'm going to do undock decouple again. And then lastly, on the ship side again, grab that one. Does that one have a fuel line on it? Yes, it does. They all have fuel lines, it looks like. I'm going to grab that one. And in custom 3, I'm going to say undock decouple. That's excellent. Custom 0 will be our setup. So you there. No. Crew report and discard crew report. Toggle panels. And toggle antenna, that's fine. I don't think we really need anything else. Did I miss anything else? I think I've got everything that I need. I am not sure. If I gave you a chance. I totally. Hey DOS, have you installed Real Solar System? No, I haven't ever used Real Solar System. However, if you ask your question in the chat, there are a lot of talented people watching who may be able to answer the question about Real Solar System. So feel free to ask it over in the chat, dude. No worries at all. So now I think I've got everything. I've got my people. I've got that. I've got this. I've got crew. I've got... Ooh, you know what I don't have? I do not have any sort of reaction control, and that is freaking terrible. I'm not going to lie. I definitely need some serious reaction control. I could put one in there, I guess. That would work. Let's take care of that right quick. I'm going to take... Nope, I'm in the wrong mode. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to replace it with a big old reaction control node. Excellent. Then I'm going to put this on there. Excellent. The strut's reattached. Excellent. I think we're all good. Now we've got that reaction control. For a ship this size, I'd really like more reaction control, and so I'll do something like this. Yeah, I'm just going to take the ship off the ship, and then who cares about reaction control? Let me take those off. Let me make sure these fuel lines... We're going to have to rejigger the fuel line, the Dr. Pepper fuel line here. So I think I'll just do it like this. From there, down the side. We wouldn't want it to interfere with their living space. We'll just do it down the side like that, and I don't expect that to really cause any unanticipated rotations. Let's see there. Trying to open in 64-bit. Oh, you just asked, you just copy-pasted. I was like, dude, I'm not Shimmy. I can't answer that question. Sorry. Let's toss these puppies on the top of that. I like it. Let's toss these guys here in like this because I like it too. See? That doesn't fix anything. See, from there up to there. That looks good. I think we're good. Power generation, backup power generation, main propulsion, batteries, crew control, probe control, lighting, Mickey Mouse ears, action groups. I totally block the light from my face when I do that. I need to stop doing that. Anything else? I don't think I've missed anything else. I think I've got everything. Oh, you know what we don't have? We don't have any sort of docking capabilities. So if somebody comes and wants to dock with us to transfer the actual passengers, that's a bit of a problem. Let us fix this right quick. I'm putting this on top. Yes, that looks like Mickey Mouse has a little... What are those hats called that you wear to bar mitzvahs and temple and that sort of stuff? I don't know what they're called. RCS, yeah, I've got that. RCS Snuggly Squid, I'm not going to be rendezvousing with anything. The ship that's meeting me will do that. I think maybe the last thing that we could do, we could always dock things with that, but just to make the, let's see here, y'all know me, still the same old G. There we go. Was that 2x symmetry? That was 4x symmetry. Let me do it in 2x symmetry, like this. There we go. You know something? It doesn't matter. If it needs to dock, it can either dock with the top port or it can dock with the bottom port here. We're not going to worry about the rest. For SAS units, Yamaka, thank you. And smoke your marijuana. Why is that the first thing that comes to mind? I don't know what the deal is. Last thing I need to know, dorsal side. Everybody knows me and my dorsal side. Let me put a dorsal side battery pack in there just so that it's obvious. It's under utility. It is under this. And where is my battery? There we go. Dorsal side battery pack. That's interesting. With this design, we don't have a particularly easy... Could I put it in here? Would this work? It'd be hard to see there sometimes. Maybe if I just put it in the middle of this, right? You know something? I'll be able to find that. I'll be able to see that in there. And if I see the light in there, then I'll be good to go. Did I miss anything else? Nice hip-hop reference. Thank you. I've done the entire song at karaoke. I'll have you know. Let's see. Anything else? I'm okay with that. I may want to do, just for the sake of taking off, because we are going to have to launch this puppy into orbit, something along these lines. 4x symmetry, please. I'm just going to reinforce that docking connection with a couple struts. We wouldn't be able to do that in space, but once we're in space, I wouldn't have to worry about it. Edmond, what does your log say in terms of errors? Ah, you're still working on that. And an Adam Sandler reference. Alright, I think that ship actually looks kind of cool. Apparently people are tweeting at me. DK. Cough, cough. Let's continue and build the lifter for this thing right quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that. Everybody knows lifter design. There's that. Step 1, build a kicker. At least 1.5 thrust to weight and at least 800 to 1,000 delta V. There's that. There's that. 1.72 and 1,000 delta V. That is an excellent kicker stage for this ship. I didn't plan that even, man. That's actually a... Who knew that was going to work that well? Then we need to do this sort of number. And I've got a new thing. I've actually got a new way of designing things. I really don't like that bug, right? The decoupler bug that causes decouplers to rip your ship apart. A free play session where I do karaoke. Dude, I will do it. That's awesome. Careful what you wish for. So check out this new lifter design I've been going with. I've been designing my kicker stage in the middle like this, I may be able to get by with just 2. Let's see. But instead of using those stupid radial decouplers, I've been doing this a whole heck of a lot. I will grab that. Is that going to be high enough for me? Yes. Excellent. Then we'll put these 4 things down here. Nah. Nope. Okay. We'll always put it back on. No big deal. 2x symmetry. There we go. Alright, I need some fuel lines. And so check out what I did. Instead of putting radial thingy my bobbers on it, 2.42 on the launch pad, that's not enough. This number right here needs to read at least 4,000. So I can add a lot more fuel. But check it out. All I've done is I've put these boosters on the side. And now I'm going to put more fuel on top of them. Let's see how that goes. And by the way, everybody who's helping out with the questions over in chat that aren't related to KSA, I totally appreciate it. I mean, I think it's awesome. I want people to be able to come here and get answers to problems, even if they're not about exactly what we're doing. So I totally appreciate everybody that's helping out. Who was it? Who was having the issues? Mad Monster with his RSS, and earlier Crazy77 with his crashing problems. I totally appreciate that. It would be awesome if people knew they could come to Kerbal Space Academy and get some help with whatever sort of issues they're having. 1.5 on the launch pad with only that much delta V. That's no bueno. Let's try 3. 1.73 on the launch pad, 4309 delta V. That's perfect. That's exactly what we look for in a lifter and a kicker. Ooh, but it still wasn't exactly right, was it? Let's find out. Because we only had 2 fuel lines and we needed 3. Let us go like this. Let us go like that. 4309. Oh, but guess what? Atmospheric stats. 3627. So we are still not there. Plus 1.03 on the launch pad. Plus 767. Ah, that's an issue. So we could totally add more fuel or another engine. I like the more fuel concept. You know something? If that doesn't work, use more boosters. So let's just toss 4 of these things on there in our quad lifter sort of setup. Then we can add more fuel, and it's not, that's excellent, it's not hitting our tanks. Let's see if we can't add these things up to the top. Don't do me that way, girly. Yes. 167 on the launch pad, 4018. That is actually fan-freaking-tastic. And if I could move them down a little bit more. Start a clean beam to try to install anomaly DOS. It's been a while. Dude, McLovin it, what's going on? How is it going, sir? We are going to Drez. Slowly but surely. Last thing, 4x symmetry. Put that in there. 167, 4229. That's actually more than we needed. What we could actually do. We'll just fly it this way. Whatever. We've got that. We're not hitting anything, right? We're not hitting anything. Let us... Ooh, I actually want to do it a little bit differently. Take that off. That's not right. Take these off. Put this like this. I'm going to swip these 2 things out. This over here, this over here. Let's put this over there. Grab it. Again, put it on the side. You'll see what I'm doing. Remember me, I like things to be aesthetically aesthetic. Is that a word? Aesthetically aesthetic? Not really. I don't think it is a word. There we go. There we go. There we go. Excellent. And now let's look at this here with that fuel in the middle. Grab it. Bring it over. Again, just normal lifter design. 181 on the pad. 4046. That's exactly what we're looking for. That is exactly what we're looking for. And then I can make it pretty. Like this. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Yes. No. Yes. Where are them nose cones at? You know me. Yes, that looks freaking cool. And we put that on ×4. Right like that. So look at that. 3278 4044. That is outstanding. We're going to need to brace this puppy. We're definitely going to need to brace this puppy. And then we're really going to hope that it doesn't rip our engine off. Eek. You never know. There's one bit of bracing. Was that in 4x symmetry? Yes, and I did it the first tick past. Here's another bit of bracing. Outstanding. Braces all around. Staging correct. You go here. That can't be right. Oh yeah, it's because of the docking port. That's right. You go up there. You go up there. That's a drop tank, and when we do that, that's going to go like that. That's going to remove that. Make sure we got it all correct. All those engines fire. Bueno. Actually, I'm going to do this too. Just because we're going to box those things in to make it more stable. So we've got that together. We've got that firing, and then our kicker stage firing. Excellent. Then we have all those engines. We should be good to go. Let's see if I can send this thing to space. I don't know if I'll be able to send it to space. I think we could actually put one more fuel tank on, just for giggles. Come on now. There we go. 1764102. That's perfect. That is exactly what we want. So let's send this Hotel California mission to Dres up to space. We're going to click save. Is it all strutted in correctly and stuff? Yeah, I think that'll be fine. I think that'll be fine. I'm going to click save. I'm going to go out to the launch pad and let's see what's going to happen here. Which planet is my favorite? Kerbal. Because I can visit it without getting out of bed. I don't really have a favorite planet. I do know that I don't particularly need more planets. There's already enough planets, I think. There's enough variety and that sort of stuff. Oh, stability enhancers. We don't need no stinking stability enhancers. We're going to launch it raw dog here. Monopropellant. We've apparently got 40 units of monopropellant up there. That's not good. Who cares? Let's carry it with us. Actually, let's not carry it with us. You know me. Kerbal engineered. Oh, Kerbal engineer? It won't work on the Mac? You should just drag it in. Does it not work on the Mac? Is there something I don't know about that? I do not know if that shouldn't be working on the Mac. Yeah, look at that. Got that two more thrust the weight. Whatever, dealy my bobber. I'll take it. All right. Are there interstellar mods? Bobcan. There are interstellar mods. I think there was a mod that somebody was working on that lets you go to a different system, but it was kind of meh. I don't know. There are mods that add more planets and that sort of stuff. But interstellar mods, it's been a while since I looked. We've got Bill and Jeb. You know what we don't have? Passengers. You guys are not watching my back this evening. You're totally not watching my back. How are we supposed to launch this thing if we don't have any passengers in it? Right? We shall see. Alright, let's go recruit some passengers for our trip. Oh, apparently we're way short on passengers. What do we need? 16? We needed 16 new people. Higher, 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 higher. What do I have to do? I have to go back and forth now? Back to the astronaut complex. Oh, yeah. Higher, 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 higher. Yes, everyone. One big happy all-male Kerbal family. Hey, Ludmul. How'd you like... Yep, you. Genfield. Yeah, okay, maybe there's one girl over there. Kurgan, that sounds like a kid name. Ginily. Wow, Dude Gas. Dude Gas is apparently going to Dres on the tour. Here we go. 16 Kerbals. Wait, I have more? Oh, no, I was filling up. That's the... Alright, we don't need that one. Bob, Jeb, Bill, and Bob will be there. Bob can be the hospitality person in the crew quarters there. That's how we're going to do it. Let's save it and launch it before KSP forgets what's going on. What's up, DK? We're about to start our interplanetary transfer for our tour bus to Dres. We just stuffed 16 Kerbals plus Bill, Bob, and Jeb into an interplanetary ship. We'll see how that's going to go. Ooh, I can drink Dr. Pepper. Ooh, this is almost empty. So, typical launch profile, panel lock, throttle all the way up, SAS engage, Kerbal engineer activate. Let's see if it goes to space. Ludmul's sitting there. He's like, me too. I want to be included. I'm probably almost like covering up Jeb or something. Let us send this thing to space. 3, 2, 1, space. So typical launch profile, if you've been here for my Getting to Space Kerbal Space Academy sessions, the first checkpoint will be 5,000 meters, going about 150, 160 meters per second. That's just a rough estimate, but we shall see. Wow, those things are sucking down the fuel fast. Oh no, it's the fuel tank bug. Because it sucked it out of that one and it sucked it out of that one, which looks like a lot of fuel, and then it counts these as the rest. That's just that's a bug. If you ever have like one tank that feeds 4 or actually more than one engine, and then each engine has its own fuel tank after that central tank runs out, that's how it looks like. We have a lot more fuel than this is letting on, because we should just now be getting into this tank. Yeah, we're good to go. So again, first checkpoint is going to be 5,000 meters. Going about $1.50. We're going a little bit fast here, so that means I had a little bit too much on the pad. That's okay. We'll be fine. I can actually throttle it back just a little bit. I can also see what's going on here. Is it possible to EVA all 16 Kerbals? I'll give it a try. It's going to be like herding cats. Because they're going to be floating around in different directions. I wish I had ladders for them to hang on to. Maybe, could I fit 16 Kerbals onto these ladders? I don't think so. Next checkpoint, 10,000 meters, going about 260, going a little bit fast, but that's okay. Then we start our gravity turn. We just lean her over. My rule of thumb is I tried to drag the velocity vector using the little angle right here. See right there where I've got the mouse? That angle. I try to drag that all the way down to 90 degrees. I don't just want to get to 10,000 and then immediately go 45. Would we still make it to space? Yeah, probably. Would probably still make it to space. But I just like to do a little... I mean, I like for my smoke to be nice and curved, right? So I just keep pulling that velocity vector over there to the east so that we can do a gravity turn. Next checkpoint is going to be to watch our altitude, oh, that's surface display. Whoa! Watch that for 50. When that gets to 50, I'm going to turn and burn. I'm going to switch to my orbital velocity. I'm going to put the rest of this velocity not into going up, but to going sideways. And that will allow our orbital kicker stage. I think I'm going to try to park this thing up around 100. So let's see what we got here. I'm just turning and burning and trying to get all the orbital velocity that I can. What do we have? We still have 267 in there, and that's 1042. That's outstanding. Remember, one thing that I talk about a lot. All right, now everybody stabilize and don't be rotating when I ditch this. Yes! Something blew off. I don't care. We blew something up. I'm not sure what it was, but it's all good. Apparently my apoapsis is at 115 now. Oops. Whatever. Let's go up and plan our trajectories. Excuse me. Let's go up and plan our circularization burn. Yes, let me actually turn the trajectory overlay off right quick. There we go. That's another mod. I'm going to do a showcase on that one tomorrow, I believe. But we will go like that. Again, put the node at the apoapse and burn prograde until you get a periapse. Click on your periapse. The Duna Space Hag? What is that even? Something we built last time, I guess. And then let's increase that till we're circular, about $1.15. Because that's where our apoapse is. 116, 113. You there. Get back here. There we go. I like that. So that's $1.13 to $1.15. Let's give it a little bit more. $1.15 squared. Not really. That's not really how it works. I totally torched the nose cones, which is awesome. Didn't need those nose cones anyways. Let's go back over here. It's going to be a 43-second burn. It's going to require 750. We've got 949. I don't want this thing to be space junk, so I'm going to stop when I'm about 50 short, and I'll finish the circularization with my other engines. So we should be good to go there. 929. All right. Moving right along. Minute 57, 43-second burn. That's going to be half of 43, 44, 22. So 22 seconds, T-minus 22 is when I'm going to start the burn. Let's fast forward to that time and get this thing circularized. Screet! There we go. 25, 24, 23, 22. We'll light it up. And again, since I don't want space junk, I'm actually going to watch my orbital view here. And when I have a periapse that's just under 23,000, I'm going to wait for the periapse to be about 20,000. I could also watch Kerbal Engineer right here. Another reason I love Kerbal Engineer. I'm just going to watch, and I'm going to cut the engines and stage whenever we... Corn Chips 24, what's going on? Booster performance, nominal. It still got us into space, dude. You know? So I am just burning along here. I've got about 16 seconds left. Let's straighten it out a little bit. Just watching for this to get down to 22. That's so that I don't leave space junk up there. My kicker stage I want to deorbit on its own, since I didn't put a probe core on it. And stop! That's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There we go. Let's come over here. That's still a lot of fuel I'm wasting. That's okay. Let's stage and do it like this. That's an orbit right there. Now we just need to raise our periapse up to $1.15 and we should be good to go. And I'm just going to continue burning along. Again, we're leaving that kicker stage behind. We don't need it to come with us. I just wanted it to deorbit and not become space junk. And so I'm going to keep burning along here until this says $1.15. Ish. Roughly. What's going on? Dude! Kid Gamer Nerd, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. We're doing advanced interplanetary transfers, where really it was just me talking about different ways to design a ship such that it has drop tank Delta V for about an hour, and then we launched an actual craft that we're going to take out to Dres. 16 tourist Kerbals on board, plus Bill, Bob, and Jeb to run the tour. Not sure what there is to see out at Dres. It's $1.12, but that's going up now. What do I need to do? I'm past that, so I need to burn upwards. Space Shuttle got their internet back. What? Is that reducing it? Yes. And it's increasing that? Yes, that's what I wanted. Just tweaking the orbit here. I was burning it more in an up angle. I'm really wasting some fuel doing this, but that's okay. $1.14, $1.15. Wasting just a little bit. That's okay. Look at that. There's a $1.15, $1.15. I like it. The last thing I want to do before we go and calculate our transfer is to A, get rid of this node. B, click on the moon, set the moon as the target. C, find an ascending node. Here it is, and it's the same mistake we always make. Ascending node 1.1, that means I need to burn anti-normal, which is down on the pink thingy. Burn until you got a flip. And a flip. There we go. PE 115, EPO 115, that's fine. Descending node, -1. Let's go in the other direction just a bit. And a flip. 0. So let's fix this up. Corn Chips here. Corn Chip says, by the way, DOS, thanks to KSA, I was actually able to understand the reports on the Indian Mars orbit insertion. Dude, that's freaking awesome. That's freaking awesome. I didn't get to catch that stream. I watched the stream of them grappling the dragon, but I didn't watch the probe approaching Mars. That's freaking cool, dude. Happy to be able to help just a little bit. I think I said I was going to be burning north. No, I didn't. It was a descending node, so I needed to burn south, right? Only country to orbit Mars on the first try. Nice. Let's see here. We're just flipping around here. Was it burning out of this tank? Nope, it was not. It was burning out of one of our drop tanks. We had a bit of a problem there with that burn. It'll be okay, though. Let's fix our ship here. We really want it to be coming out of here, right? And so what I want to do is disable... I want to come in here and I want to disable cross... No. This one, I guess. Yep. Disable cross-feed on the outside. Disable cross-feed on the outside. Disable cross-feed on the outside. And disable cross-feed on the outside. So because we're using our retrofittable interplanetary ship here, with the docking ports, if I don't want it to pull fuel from those tanks, which I think it did, yes it did, I've got to go through and disable that crossfeed. That's okay, I can take it out of the big tank up here and just refill these tanks, and then it should be pulling it from that big tank next, because that should be the farthest away tank. That is just something I forgot to do before we did the launch. So in, and last but not least, in. And I think next time it should pull from just the big tank. In fact, we can have an added safety factor if we just turn these guys off so that we don't have to go through the refueling again. So I'm just going to turn them off. Remind me to turn them back on when it's time to use them, please. Would not want to... They probably had practice with Kerbal Space Program. That's why they were able to orbit Mars. That's awesome. Let us go out. We have one more burn that we need to do. And that is to... go for a 16-second burn in 10 minutes. Let's go fast. That's 8 seconds is half of 16. We want to bracket our burns. And I'm going to actually burn at T-9 to give these engines 1 second to spool up. So there's 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 0 minutes. T-9 is what I'm looking for. There we go. 11, 10, 9. Spool up engines. Begin our burn. Are we pulling out of this tank? We are pulling out of that tank. That's what we wanted. Doing that burn. That 0.35 thrust to weight, that's actually not too terrible. That's not too terrible. Just trying to correct my inclination here. Now we have a good inclination. 0.02, I'll take it. Let's run out to our interplanetary transfer calculator and calculate the burn for this interplanetary transfer. I don't have it open. That's okay. New window. Google. Alex Moon. KSP. There we go. KSP launch window planner. What I'm using is this right here. I will post it in the chat so that everybody has it. There we go. I'm going to be pulling up the launch window planner. Who knows if this is going to be working in OBS, but hang on for 1 second. This would be the browser window. Excellent! The launch window planner came right up. That's awesome. Am I there too? Ah, I'm in the corner. Check me out! I'll be in the edge of the launch window planner talking to you. That's awesome. What can I do? If you want to follow along, go ahead and click on the Alex Moon GitHub IO there. I'm not going to worry about the green screen settings. Apparently there's some fuzz. You can still see what's going on. You can also see my bright and smiling face while I talk to you. But what we're going to do is go over here. Yeah, I wasn't really scaling. It was just off the edge. What we're going to do is use Alex Moon's launch window planner here. We're going to say our initial orbit around Kerbal is 115. Our final orbit, let's just leave it. Our destination is going to be Dres. So starting at Kerbal at a 115 orbit, going to Dres at a 100 orbit, that's okay. No insertion board, that's fine. What is the year and day? Let me hop back to the game. So I'm going to look at the game. Actually, I'll show you what I'm doing so you know how to do it too. There we're back to Kerbal Space Program. I'm going to go up here and click on this mission elapsed times. It's actually year 4, day 65 because we've done some interplanetary transfers here before. So, back to the launch window planner. Year 4, day 65. We'll go over here. We need to set this time to be year 4, day 65. Again, that's important because the launch window planner, you don't want it to plan launch windows, or at least find launch windows that are in the past. Clearly, the Kerbals, while they have lots of technology, don't have time machines. I haven't seen any DeLoreans driving around the surface of the world. I saw one in space the other day. I think that's what they were highlighting on the Kerbal thing. The blog post or whatever it was. But we can't go back in time, so we say today is year 4, day 65. Find me some transfer windows between Kerbal and Dres. So this is actually telling me that our best departure is going to be year 5, day 300 to get to Dres, and it's going to cost us a total of 3,000 delta V with 1,600 meters per second on the ejection burn. That's not bad. Let's go over here and see. That's 4,000. That's about 1,000 more. I mean, that's pretty close. Remember our number? What was our number? Was It said that our number was 300. I don't really believe that that's the correct thing. Luis, I do need to get that. I do need to get that mod. I haven't installed it yet. Let's see here. So should we just wait for this? We've got the Delta V in the ship, I think. We can go for an earlier launch window. Again, you can just hover around the pork chop plot here. Am I streaming the correct thing? I am. You can just hover over the pork chop plot here, and let's see if we can't find the lowest 4,000 over this way. So there's 4018. That's about 1,000 more total, but that's actually okay. That's going to get us there a year sooner. Instead of year 5, day whatever, we'll leave at year 4, day 252. Our ejecting delta V is going to be a whole heck of a lot more. Look at that. 2677. And then what was the best one again? The best one was year 5 for 1609. Honestly, let's just go for this one. Let's just go into the future and we'll go for the cheapest burn here, the 3060. So remember, a couple things to write down. A couple things doesn't KAC. KAC doesn't which KAC have that functionality as well. Turn off the green screen. You want me to just have like a green screen thing, like a green sheet behind me? A couple things that I need to write down on this page. I need to write down the date of departure, year 5, day 300. It'd be really nice if I had something to write it with. It would be really nice if I had some... Oh, I'm sitting at a computer. Why don't I just type it in? DOS. So, year 5, day what? Year 5, day 300. Year 5, day 300. And it's going to be... I don't care about the phase angle. 118 degree to prograde. So 118 degree to prograde. We'll write that down. Ejection delta V is 1609. So I'm just going to come and hover, click this right here. 1580 prograde, 303 normal. So I'm going to write down 1580 prograde and 303 normal. And is there anything else I need? No, there's not. Everything else will be taken care of for me. So, again, that's going to get us, has a transfer window. Oh, it does. It does have a transfer window alarm, but I find that it doesn't really match up with the Alex Moon porktop plots. So I don't use Kerbal alarm clock's transfer windows as often. In fact, let's try it. This is telling us that our best transfer window is day 5 or year 5, day 300, and I've got all my stuff written down. Let us go back to Kerbal Space Program. Thoop. Go back to Kerbal Space Program. There we go. And let's go to Kerbal Alarm Clock and have a look and see if we can add a new transfer window, which looks like that right there. Transfer window. I want it to be Kerbin to Dress. And it says that the next window is year 4, day 217, as opposed to year 5, day 300. So I think it's got kind of a lower bar. Let's hop back year 4, day 217, going out to Dres from Kerbin. I've got all that right. Yep. And year 4, day 217. Let's look at Alex Moon's calculator. Where's it at? Where's it at? Nope, there. Year 4, day 217. Is that somewhere over in here? No, I just dragged it. That's not what we wanted to do at all. Year 4, day 217 would be right. So see, I think it's picking up something in this range. But, see, it must be picking up the beginning of this blue area. See on the pork chop plot right there? That it must be counting this as a transfer window, even though there's a 1,000 meter per second more efficient transfer window a year in the future. So I think that may be part of it. This isn't the best transfer window that comes up. This is actually the best window. So that may be, yes, it does have it in there, but that's what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and go with the year 5, day 265. Back over here. Let's get this party started. I've got 30 minutes. So, KSP2. Back to KSP. I'll turn off that alarm clock, and I'll actually just... nope, don't add the alarm. There you go. So, the good news is... What's up, Poison Gold? How's it going? I am streaming the right thing, right? Yes, I am. Now we just need to do our Kerbals the courtesy of staying in orbit until year travel time. We've got that, White Bundies. We've actually got the Delta V because we wrote down 1080 or 1580 Delta V prograde and 303 Delta V normal. Those two things will get us close to the planet. The travel time, we don't really need to worry about the travel time. But yeah, that's we'll be able to get pretty darn close when we type this into precise node. As long as we know 118 to prograde, the day to leave on, and the 1580. Let me just make sure I got the day correct. Day 300, I think it was, right? Yeah, day 300. Yep, that's right. Alrighty, what else? Dude, no worries, Mad Monster Gaming. I'm glad you got that bug figured out, and I would totally love it for people if they saw Kerbal Space Academy streaming. They know they can come over here, and there would be some really talented people to answer some questions. So, dude, no worries at all. Let us basically spend a year in orbit since it's now year 4, day 65. I'm actually going to set a Kerbal alarm clock. So if you don't know Kerbal alarm clock, I can actually set a raw time alarm. And I can tell it that I want it to be a certain date. I want it to be year 5, day 299. Are you out of your mind? There we go. Add alarm. That way this will actually stop the time warp when we get there. Again, that was just a raw time alarm. In Kerbal Alarm Clock I did add. I clicked on raw time alarm, and then I typed in the date that I wanted down here. It's important not to click time interval, because I've done that before and I've added 5 years and I totally missed my launch window. Anyways, make sure you click on date, type in the day you want it, and then we will get up to year 5, day 299. We're already good to go there. So, I won't be able to fast forward very well here. In fact, the max time warp that I'm going to have is 50x. We are not going to warp for a year and 200 days at 50x. What we're actually going to do is go back to the Space Center. From the Space Center, I can actually sit over at the tracking station, and then I can super fast forward at full time acceleration up until that alarm clock catches us. So, there's that. Here is this. in the tracking station, and we're going to fast forward like crazy. In fact, it'd be cool if we set up like the orrery. Here, let's focus on the sun. Duna, Ike, Jewel, Lathe, Tyler Boulder. There was the sun. I just missed it. There we go. Let's focus on the sun and watch the KSC orrery go around and around in circles. So there's max time warp, 100,000 regular time. And remember what we're doing when we do this transfer. What are you? Where are you going? Some sort of probe from the Duna space hag? I don't even know what's going on there. We're trying to get out to Drez, the lonely space potato. Drez is a little bit complicated to get to because it has a bit of an inclined orbit. We'll make that. That's what that normal is in our burn for. And basically right now we're here on Kerbal, which you can see right here. And we're waiting for Kerbal to catch up with Drez, basically. What we want to do is do a transfer, a Hohmann transfer, and we're going to be burning from Kerbal, ejecting ourselves prograde, going along a line that looks a lot like this, up to a point where we'll actually hit Drez with that Hohmann transfer. So, again, because check it out, it's also an elliptical orbit, it's going to be a little bit more complicated of a transfer. When we take off in another 408, 405, 400, 399 days, wherever we are at Kerbal, we're actually going to kick ourselves out on such a trajectory that we will get over here at the same time that Drez gets there. So, looks like that's going to be in another 340 days. Wow, I wonder if I have time to go get a Dr. Pepper while this happens. In fact, while it's fast forwarding, I'm going to go get me a Dr. Pepper. 300 days. I'll be right back. I apparently was able to get to the fridge and back in less than the stream delay because I just sat down and saw myself getting up from the camera on the stream. Did I miss anything in chat? Who's used Keything? Oh, I totally need to get Keythane installed and do a mod highlight on Keythane. I think that would be cool. I need to get that done. Convert it and use a fuel taxi. Alright, talking about Keythane over there. Good deal. How am I doing? Another 12 days. Let's test Kerbal alarm clock and see if it slows it down for us. It's already slowing the time warp down. 2 minutes, 1 minute. Ding! File's done. Delete on close. Jump to ship. So what is today? Day 299, right? It's like the dawn on day 299. And we will begin to set up this burn. Let's see here. DOS will be back in 300 days. Hey, dude, as long as it's not a... There we go. What is today? Year... Well, that's not right. There we go. Year 5, day 299. I need to fast forward for one more day. Honestly, I don't really have to fast forward for one more day, but I'll go ahead and do it. Can I get through an entire day at this? Oh, 1 minute, 2 minutes. That's actually terrible. Let's just see if we can't set up the burn like this. So, again, in setting up the burn, when I'm going interplanetary, I zoom out from Kerbal and I see its orbit, right? This right here is Kerbal's orbit. We need to, what was the number we wrote down? We wrote down 118 to prograde. That means that from prograde, with prograde being 0, up here along this line being 0, this way being 90, we need to burn 118. We need to put our node at 118. So if 118, if this is 90, then 118 is going to be back in this direction a little bit. Let's zoom in and put a maneuver at about what I think is 118 to prograde. I'm not exactly sure if that is. That's probably a little bit more than 118. In fact, our ship is probably pretty darn close to 118 to prograde. There we go. Now I need to, in precise node over here, what were our two numbers we had? We had prograde 1580. So in prograde I type 1580. That looks good. And in normal I type 303. 303. That looks good. And that should tell us our current ejection angle is 123 from prograde. That means that I need to grab my node. Again, just the same stuff we did last time. Grab my node and move it up up, up until it says 118. There, right there is 118-ish. Yes. 117.93, good enough for government work, and I always pretend that that's who pays the Kerbals. Now let us zoom out, since we've used precise node to set up our basic node, and see how close we actually are to Dres. There's Dres, set as target. We are not quite getting to Dres, but again, we did not set up there. I bet you that's where we're supposed to be hitting it, right there. So now we need to tweak our orbit, or sorry, tweak our node to see if there's anything we can do to get that encounter with Dres. Because again, we're not going full, there's like an extra advanced precise node course class sort of deal I think that we could do. This one's not it. I am just going to play with the node and see if I can't get that Dres encounter. So now I'm adding some more prograde. Good. So now I see that we're not getting there soon enough, right? Even though I added some more prograde velocity, Dres is going to be there before we are. That's not what we want. That means we need to get there sooner, which means radial in. This little blue thing here is radial in, and if I give it a little bit more radial in, we should see it bring Dres towards us. See how the arrows are getting closer together? Yes. And so let's put a little bit more prograde. Nope, a little bit less prograde. And there's that encounter. Let's do a little bit less prograde. I just want to get to that descending node at the same time that Dres does. Oops, missed it. Let's grab it again by going a little bit more prograde. There we go. Again, radial in. Radial in will make me get there sooner. I'm kind of cutting on the inside of the track, right? Every time I do radial in, have a look. Instead of swinging out wide like this, I'm actually cutting the inside of the track. The more radial in I give it, which is this blue guy right here, man, you can't even see it. The little blue guy with the lines pointing in is radial in, and every time I give that more, I'm cutting to the inside of the track so that I can get out to this point sooner. So let's see, give it some more radial in, just until, alright, we lost it, so let's give it a little bit less prograde. There we go, that was pretty darn close. Look at that, look how close we are. Now we just need to fine tweak it until that becomes an actual encounter. So let's try a little bit more radial in maybe. Nope, a little bit radial out. There you go, right there. So now we have a Dres encounter in 1 year, 422 days. And we will be spiraling. This is a 3-hour tour. Now you might say, Das, look, wow, you're wasting some time. You're going past Dres's orbit and you're loitering up here, and then you're going to hit it on the flip side. Why are you doing that? That's because we're hitting it at the descending node, right? Or we're hitting it, I think that's actually an ascending node because the orbit goes up afterwards. Or a descending node relative to Dres. If we were to try and hit it where these lines cross, right here, look, actually I'll just put a node right there just so you can see where it is. That node, look how far we would be from it. We would be way normal of it, way up above it, right? And so we would have to burn a whole heck of a lot more velocity back there at Kerbin to bring that orbit down so that we could hit it there. Basically, we're spending less delta V, but we're having to pay for that with more time as we come around the corner here. So let me get rid of this node. There is our encounter with Dres in 1 year, 422 days. These guys are going to be in for the trip of a lifetime. I hope they have lots of exciting shows that they can watch. 1614, that's about what the calculator predicted, I believe. Let me go look right quick. The calculator predicted 1613 meters per second. Ah, y'all gotta look at this, look. So the calculator in the browser over here predicted 1613 as our ejection delta V, and when we went into Kerbal Space Program and actually set up this node, we were able to get 16, I'll call it 15. So 2 meters per second difference from the calculator. We're not even on the right day. We're 1 day early in the burn, so it's like, hey, guess what? You're going to get to leave an hour earlier. In any event, 29 minutes. We have no clue how long this burn is going to take. We definitely need to figure out how long this burn is going to take. And to do that, we press F5. After we press F5, we press F5 again, because we didn't know if we actually pressed F5 or not. Then we throttle all the way up. That's going to be an 11-minute, 3-second burn. That is a significant burn. That's a very long burn. Let's see what that's going to look like. Now that I know that it's 11 minutes, 3 seconds, I can hold down F9. That is actually going to Here the Kerbals have the Dust Valdez show. I reloaded the save before we fired our engines and figured that out. We know that it's going to be 11 minutes, so 5.5 minutes on either side of the node. And here we will illustrate the supreme problem with nuclear engines. Where my node at, girly? Come on now. And F5 for safety. F5 twice for safety, actually, is I think my new policy. If I don't visually see quick saving down here, I don't believe that I did it correctly. So let's see how this burn is going to go. This ship should be stable enough that we should be able to execute the burn. So help me, if the right-click bug is in effect, I am going to stab some Kerbal in the eye. Let's see here. I need to fast forward. It was going to be like an 11-minute burn, so 5.5 minutes on either side. Let us go see the problems with the efficiencies of nuclear engines on larger craft like this. And remember, I slapped 4 nuclear engines on here. How could that possibly be bad? Oops, I apparently can't turn on my lights when I time warp. Let me get all the way up there to T-minus 5.5 minutes, and then we will see what's going to happen. Minus 20. Minus 19. I can't warp any faster, apparently. I can drink delicious Dr. Pepper. Outstanding. Bill looks like he got stabbed in the eye. There's minus 8, minus 7, minus 6. I was going for 5. So check out the problem here, right? Where are we pointing right now? Are we pointing at Dres? No, you wouldn't point at Dres and burn anyways. But we're pointing at freaking Kerbin. And in another 5 minutes, I mean, basically we're pointing in this direction like this right now. So if we fire up those nuclear engines, we are going to drastically decrease our orbit, right? We're going to put 800 meters per second down towards the planet. Let's see how that works. Let's see. Everybody's like, ooh, that actually looks really cool from this angle. Everybody says, ooh, nuclear engines, they're so efficient, it's so great. I have an 11-minute burn coming. I need to start burning right now. Let's see how that affects things. F5 for safety right quick. F5 because I know it's going to break. Let's go ahead and light these engines and try to accomplish that 11-minute burn pointing down at Kerbin, which is where our node is. Check it out. That's where our node is. And again, this is 5.5 minutes in the future. Actually, this is right here. That's part of our problem because watch what's happening to our orbit. Because we're burning so far away from that node, because our nuclear engines are so freaking weak, basically, that means that we are going to have to change this orbit. And can I illustrate it yet? Yes. Look at what's happening to our node. Our node is nowhere near our orbit. That's a problem. Having the node be nowhere near the orbit is not a good thing, because that means that the node is, the burn itself is going to be insanely inefficient. What could you do? Could you be so far out from Kerbin, like in a 500,000 meter, 500 kilometer orbit or something like that, such that when you begin your burn, you're not pointing at Kerbin? Yes, you could. That would also mean that you weren't quite as, what's the word I'm looking for? You weren't quite as inefficient, because your orbit, you stay along the same vector for longer, right? And where I need to burn versus where I'm pointing right now won't be such a big difference. We'll be burning closer to the orbit. I just want to see what happens here. I want to see if we're going to be able to do anything that remotely resembles getting this burn done correctly. So let's compulsory time accelerate here. We continue to burn right on that blue line. Our orbit is not taking us anywhere near this, but the important thing at the end of the day is that we come out along this line, not that we pass through the beginning of the node. So let's see if these engines are going to let us do that. What's our periaps right now? If I was in like a 75... yeah, I wasn't quite as Oberthy. If I was in like a 75 kilometer orbit, I would already be in the atmosphere and I would be toast. That would be a huge problem for me, simply because I would have burned down. I was like at a $115. My periaps is like now 92. I would have entered the atmosphere if I was in a 75 or 80 orbit. Again, we're going to see if we can do it. We really just want to get exiting Kerbin's sphere of influence along that dotted line, even if we don't pass through here. So, thing to remember, nuclear engines, Longer burn times, which means that you're going to have to burn down towards Kerbin. If you're going to do that, don't try to leave the planet from a 75K orbit. That's not going to work. Eek! I kind of lost it there for a second. Get you a higher orbit, at least 100, if not a $150. You won't quite have the Oberth effect, but it'll be more than made up for by the efficiency of the nuclear engines. So look, I'm pushing this thing along. I'm going to go check something. Let's untime warp. Let's go over here. Remember our drop tank? Not empty yet. That's okay. So let's go back to here. And what's my thrust to weight now, actually? Since I'm curious. 0.45. Okay, whatever. Let me fine-tune this so that I'm right on there again. I'm halfway through my burn. And let us time accelerate again. So again, I want to leave on this trajectory. We missed that node. Look where our actual orbit went versus that node, right? We didn't go through the node itself, but we want to leave along this dotted line, and it looks like we're getting kind of close. We're burning past our orbit, so that means that we're actually burning up in this direction to try and drag us along that dotted line. But already we're below the dotted line, right? That's why we're having to correct by burning over here. Let's see, as long as our Kerbin escape is pretty close, we should be okay. How many burns have you done in 4x time acceleration? For linear acceleration, the low thrust doesn't matter as much. Yes, you are correct. It doesn't quite matter as much, especially when you don't, within the sphere of influence of one thing, it doesn't quite matter as much. What is that? Oh, that's our that's our node. Why am I drifting off of this all of a sudden? Let me turn it down again and see if my drop tank's good. My drop tank's empty. All right. So let us slow down right quick. We're still doing this burn. Slow down the time acceleration. Remember what I had with a drop tank? Let's see if this drop tank works correctly. I should be able to press 1 and ditch the drop tank. Goodbye, drop tank. We don't need you anymore. And as soon as I did that, my thrust to weight jumped way up as well, because we're not going to carry that tank with us anymore. See you later. Let us continue the burn here. It says we still have a $160 to go. So now we're almost up to a 1.0 thrust to weight. The other thing that I didn't do was disable these drop tanks. I think I'm pulling fuel from the central core right now. Aren't I? I don't even know where I'm pulling fuel from. Somewhere. Watch, it's like disabled. Oh, we must be pulling it from this tank right here. Yeah, we are. That's okay. We can fix that later. So I still have 100 meters per second. I'm pretty darn close. Not exactly right. It would help if I was actually pointing towards the node instead of running my mouth. But let's see how close we can get. Something tells me those last 70 meters per second are not going to make all the difference in the world. Again, I'm also kind of screwing up my drop tank thing here because I didn't disable them, but, you know. There you go. Spaceman Spiff has the Oberth effect explained there. As soon as I finish this burn, I'll go through and say that again over the microphone, so that any illiterate people who can't actually read the... You're playing Kerbal Space Program, but I'm not so good at reading. I'll actually read it out loud as well. So let's see how this works. There's 12, 11. I'm just going to do the burn exactly, and then we'll tweak it after the fact. 2, 1, 0. Stop. There we go. I don't think that got us a Dres encounter. Is that Dres? No, that's Minimus. Is that Dres? No, that's Gilly. Where's Dres at? Right there, but we did not get a Dres encounter. That's okay. We know that we're pretty darn close to a Dres encounter, right? So what I'm going to do is come over here and fix a couple things right quick, and then we are going to leave Kerbin's Sphere of Influence and set up our next burn. Because remember, we know that we're pretty darn close. We're about in the neighborhood of Dres, when Dres is going to be there. Let's go over here. Yeah, Mad Monster gave it. That's the long and short of it. The closer you are to the planet, the faster you're going. The faster you're going, the more efficient the rocket engine works. The more efficient the rocket engine bursts, the more oomph you get for each unit of fuel you throw out the back. That's the long and short of the Oberth effect. Honestly, I don't remember which one of these were staged first and second. Oops, so we'll just have to stage them manually. But let's undisable these and undisable these. And let's actually take fuel from them and pump it into the central tank. So how much am I missing from the central tank? About one of these. So I need to put about half of a tank in here. Half a 360, 15, 1800, 180, 171, that ain't right. 178, good enough. So I'm taking half out of one drop tank and half out of the other drop tank. Not exactly. That's pretty close. And where's the other drop tank? This one on this side. Let's fix the fuel. Hey, come on now. We'll just fill up this tank the rest of the way, because 540 to 720 should be about 360. Nope, that's 380. That's okay. 180. Exactly. That's interesting. How did I get that close? Oh, well, whatever. So that tank is enabled. Excellent. And this tank is enabled. Excellent. And this tank is enabled. Excellent. And we have the 16 Kerbals. So, oh yeah, I totally forgot to execute condition mouse ears. Alright, that looks nothing like mouse ears. Please don't hit my... Yes. Okay, I think we're good.